Okay, Vincent, so let's start now the next topic. I would like to ask you, what does it mean for you, hypnotic reality?
Well, it's like a key concept of where we live today. We all live in a hypnotic reality. Okay? Bear with me. So, a hypnotist creates a reality by describing, okay, what the reality is made up of, right? So, a very simple example of that doesn't seem like a hypnotic reality, but if we look at Harry Potter or Game of Thrones, okay, the writers of the books, The Hobbit, the writers of the books describe a reality in the books. That's all they do. And as they describe the reality, it becomes real. It becomes hypnotic.
In your imagination.
In your imagination,
Yeah.
yes. But then if you look, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, The Hobbit, all have real life realities. So The Hobbit in New Zealand, Harry Potter, everybody wants to have the wand and have the, Game of Thrones in Northern Ireland, everybody goes to Northern Ireland to see the Game of Thrones. So that all came from a description of a reality that didn't exist. And then it becomes hypnotic. It becomes, because everybody is like in the books, they're like in a trance. When you're reading Harry Potter, you're reading Game of Thrones, you're looking at Game of Thrones on the series, you're there, you're in a trance,
But everybody understands that this is the fairy tale. This is just the creation. This is just a tale, the story.
No, it starts with a story in the book, but description of the reality becomes the reality. So that's why it's hypnotic. If you take, okay, go from the books to go to America. America is set up based on the description of an American dream. So the original forefathers described how they would like a country. It was amazing, America, because other countries had been formed, but America was like, it wasn't new, but it
was invented somehow.
after they,
Yeah.
So basically they felt they were starting afresh, and they could create it the way they wanted to create it. So they described the American dream, and then that became a reality. Now, it's a hypnotic reality because everybody bought into the dream like a trance. They went, I want to be part of the American dream, from other countries, from, Japan, China, people came to America, from South America, to be part of this description of an American dream.
Very little experience American dream.
But this is the thing about hypnosis, is because you're going into it in a trance, it's unconscious. You're going in imagining it's going to be like the book. You're going to Northern Ireland to think it's Game of Thrones. It's not going to be Game of Thrones. Only you go to New Zealand for Hobbit. I think it's amazing. I think it's an incredible experience. It's not going to be The Hobbit, because the film is made up with, different, in a different way, the book. And also the book triggers your imagination. So your imagination is going to be way more creative or more inventive than what you see when you go there, And that's why some people prefer the book to the movie, or prefer the book to what they see.
Can you see the hypnotic reality examples in daily life, in our daily life, in the situation we are living in?
It's everywhere. The minute you understand what a hypnotic reality is, a trance state, they're everywhere. So people sit in front of the television, seeing a hypnotic reality. They see visions, or television programs of loads of different places. For an example, in England there was a series called Coronation Street. It ran for years, and the actors and actresses, they were just in the television. When they were walking the street,
the people recognize them.
Well, not only people would walk up to them and ask them questions about, and they said, I'm only acting I'm not actually really this person. They would totally see they were gone. They were gone into that reality, into that hypnotic. And television's about that. In a certain way, we want to be hypnotized. We go to the movies to be hypnotized in those 2 hours. We
So
want to be.
it's not real, it's clear, it's not real. But what about the politics, what about the countries, what about the other things?
It really, it's all, we have to understand that even from the small to the big, if you go to a supermarket, like Catherine and I went to the mall, you're going in the mall, the music is playing, the temperature, there's a smell of coffee and all.
Yeah.
That is creating
It's marketing. People say it's marketing.
Yeah.
Somehow.
You're creating a hypnotic reality for people to buy things. We need to be real about this, you know. They did a test in India. They did a test, Dunkin' Donut. It's a company. They did a test where on a bus, they would play Dunkin' Donut music, right? And before the Dunkin' Donut, the GPS on the bus would pick up the Dunkin' Donut next store. And before the stop, play the music, the Dunkin' Donut music, and they would spray into the bus the smell of the donuts. Half the bus got off, and so they were. That's it. Any hypnotist would say, "Whoa, that was a really good job." You know. So we don't understand that the smells are being used in shops. TV is using it. Advertising uses it in billboards and all. We're hit with so much of the triggers for hypnotism now. The phone is if you look at a phone, person on the phone, they're in a trance. They're in a trance. That's hypnotic. And the glow of the phone, and then they're being triggered to buy this or do this or do that. So the phone is an incredible hypnotic instrument.
How do you think? Can we escape this hypnotic reality? Can we somehow change it?
For some people, it's amazing. For some people, they really like their hypnotic reality. You know, because I don't know, they could be...
You think they are aware that this is hypnotic reality, or they just consume what the world, let's say, serve them?
Yeah, I don't think people... I mean, I wasn't aware. I was in so many hypnotic realities. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. But I think we're now called in humanity, a civilization, at this point in the world, we're called to be conscious, which means not hypnotized. So that doesn't mean you go to the movies, you get your little hypnotic slice, and you come out of the movies and you're conscious. So we have to now walk the world. Like what we're doing to the world, the environment is unconscious. Wars are unconscious. No human would go to war consciously. If you understood the devastation, there's no way you would go. So there's so much written about this, that the unconscious collision with war, it's all unconscious. The destruction is unconscious. So between the environment, society, war, it's obvious we're now called to be conscious, not hypnotized.
You mentioned that you were in the hypnotic reality fully. What started? How did you escape from this hypnotic reality? What was the first trigger or first the signs that you realize that you are in the hypnotic reality and you want to change this situation? When it happened?
Yeah, I think when I lived with a tribe in Indonesia, I remember sitting over there and I was sitting in a hut and they were cooking food and I was really happy. I was like going, wow, I could just live like this. Like I had food, I had a place to live. And I went, I've no bills, I've no mortgage, I've no people ringing me on the phone with computer problems. I'm like, wow, this is a whole different reality. Like I could live here. And it was the first time that I went, it is possible to live a completely different way than how I'd been brought up, you know? So it's something shifted in my...
You started thinking that,
wow.
Well, because I see that your current life, you decided to live in southern Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you decided to live here consciously because here you think this is your place for life?
Well, here I think the fundamental connections of living are people, food, and nature. I think, and in the tribe it was the same. People, food, and nature.
Food, completely understand.
That's it. Everything else is we add on top. You know, politics, economics, everything. But at a basic level for humans, food, people, nature is the deal. And those connections between food, people, and nature in southern Italy, they're still intact.
Sure.
Whereas if I look in other countries, the connection between the people and the food is cut. So they have to go to the supermarket for the food. The connection between people maybe is cut, you know. So, or the connection between people and nature is cut. So some of those connections are cut in the different countries. Whereas in southern Italy, those basic connections for me, which are
still exist.
That's amazing.
I have just a little bit touch of that when I can buy the real homemade ricotta or real homemade caciocavallo and other things which are really amazing, and the taste is amazing, and the connection of the people with the land. You can really see when you observe the people cutting olive trees. They are really doing this with, let's say, heart. They are doing this very slowly with the kind of
soul, I guess.
Soul, yes, we can say the soul. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was really nice experience to ask you about this hypnotic reality.
Great question.